1, 2, 3, 4.
It was fascinating. It was fascinating. Very deep introspection with the girls, autobiographical writing, which lends itself to songwriting, which then, as Yemu said, becomes a polished product that includes song and dance and the reading of the writing and all that sort of thing. And hopefully transformation for the girls and for the audience members.
I feel like Act Like a Girl has also made it easier for me to communicate with girls who aren't in the circle or girls who don't even know what Act Like a Girl is, because now I understand that, oh, there are more emotions behind that choice that you just made. And you might be mad right now because, like, there's different reasons, so many different reasons, because all these girls are going through different things and pushed into one puddle of let's all be teenage girls together.
Mm-hmm. Now you have a sister who's in it as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Asali, me and Asali did it together last year, and we were known as the Thickering too. So ever since Act Like a Girl, we came home, everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are cool with each other."
There's always, I think, from the parent standpoint, a little bit of nervousness because you never quite know what the girls are going to say or unveil.
So in the piece, I told the story about how I got caught with marijuana at school, in middle school. Okay, so and telling everyone how my family reacted and how I reacted to myself after, because it was a very big moment for me. Like the night after I got in trouble, I was just laying thinking like, I'm dead now. Like there's no more life after this. I put that in there and I got really good feedback from everybody within the circle. But then when I performed it, everybody was silent. And when I was done, oh my God. So that has been a big growth point for us now, because we go back and that's something I never thought I would laugh about. But we go back and we laugh about it now. That piece through Act Like a Girl really opened up a space for my parents to talk about uh, the mental effects of me getting in trouble, why I made those type of decisions, and what was the next step. Like, how are we going to help our daughter and watch her develop who exactly she wants to be, and pushing her towards the right for her areas and spaces that she needs to be in.
I remember the silence in the audience. I remember how eloquent Yemu was, how you're poised. Remember that? I mean,
it took a lot of practice.
It did. The truth was, though, and you pushed me there with your expose, was like, yeah, that happened. That happened. And here we are. And beautiful things happened after it that we never would have guessed. So this is a very different way that young girls are being brought to womanhood than, say, my generation experienced. Way more access to their voice, way more permission to say things that may not be generationally acceptable. Way more courage to even talk about cultural challenges and gender challenges, sexuality identity challenges, all those things. When you have Act Like a Girl, all of that is invited into the space. If you're a woman who's used to being some of yourself, it is eye-opening. It almost makes you wish you could go back and sort of experience it and think to yourself, well, I wonder who I'd be if I'd been given permission to be all of these things at one time versus professional Tasneem, educator Tasneem, journalist Tasneem, all those things. Act Like a Girl says, no, that's all girl stuff. We're going to go fully integrated here. And so I've seen it with Yemu. And occasionally it's challenging because she really does believe in her own voice. Mm-hmm. And the authoritative parent part of me says, no, it's my voice. And we have a joke. I'm like, this is not Act Like a Girl right now. Okay. This is our house. This is our house. And she's like, I'm just trying to explain. I'm like, if I do honestly believe that conversation is a pathway to building community, that means I have to have it in my own house. And that I have to embody it. I have to invite her voice in. I have to tussle with time to speak. We do that when we're talking sometimes. Like, wait a minute, let me get it out. She goes, I was speaking, Mom. I'm like, woo.
And she hates it.
This is new school. This is new school. Because my parents are quick to remind me that they came from a time when children were seen and not heard, that kind of thing. But here we are, 60 years later, and I have a grandchild for my mother who believes that her voice needs to be in the conversation. So I'm challenged by the ways in which Act Like a Girl sort of recrafts notions of young women and womanhood, who we are, who we're meant to be, that we're not meant to be invisible. And then as a woman myself and as a mother and as an artist, do I really believe it in all situations, or do I just box it into certain situations? If a woman speaks her mind, however gently or perhaps not, if a woman has an opinion, and these are things I want my girls to have. They also talk about body positivity, very different generationally. My family's Muslim, so there's a lot of flesh things that we talk about, like, woo! So, like, raising the bar and understanding that. And so in these conversations, what does it mean to feel as though we are intimidating to people? How do we then use the art of conversation to have a conversation about that? How difficult is that when someone's saying, there's something about you that makes me feel a little uneasy? How do you dive into that conversation then? Because it comes up in all kinds of topics. Romantic relationships, relationships with your colleagues at work, relationships with your family members. I'm presenting to you my best and full self, and you're telling me it's too much. How do I respond to that? And not just disappear.
The people that I'm comfortable with, the people that I live with, are now okay with me expressing my emotions. Because now we know what's going on when my little sister gets mad, or when Asali doesn't want to talk to anybody, because we've already had the conversations of how are you feeling when this is going on and things like that. So it just gives us more space to be like, okay, I know how that person is feeling. And even if you don't know how that person is feeling, you don't feel scared to initiate the conversation at all.